Melanoma Matters is an educational resource, and the opinions we express are our own and do not reflect medical advice. If you have questions specific to your own situation, please contact your own clinician. This podcast may be available in both audio and visual, so please check your platform.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Melanoma Matters. I'm Sapna Patel.
And I'm James Larkin. Hi.
Hi. Today we're going to do a kind of like a year-end special. It's obviously festive season, and we want to think about our reflections on 2025 and maybe our wishes for 2026, right?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions to start with. First of all, how tall is your Christmas tree?
Which one? I have multiple.
Oh, right answer. The one that's right behind you.
Oh, this is a little office version. Well, let's see, because I am 5'1.25", 3/4, I mean. So it's coming to like shoulder level for me, a little less than shoulder level, 4 feet.
Okay, and then your other Christmas trees, how tall are they?
I have one outside on my front porch that's probably a foot. I have a 7-foot in my living room. But you have a really nice chubby tree. How tall is your tree? Taller than it is wide, do you think, or is it wider than it is tall?
Good question. Yeah, it is very wide, but it's probably only about 6.5 feet tall, I reckon. But I'm not going to measure it now, but I could check. And then my second question is that what do you call this? Has it got a name? Because yours
Santa?
No, this bit here. Because yours is a lot longer than mine.
Oh,
So, yeah. And is there a preferred way of doing it? That was my other question.
Well, you're sort of like wearing it like an elf when it curves to the front. I feel like that's how the elves wear it.
But is that preferred or not?
Santa and Mrs. Claus wear theirs off to the side, right?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Sure. I feel like we should have that in the episode. Do you think?
I'm going to put that back. Yeah. Right. Come on then. Let's do some work.
Okay. So what movies did you see in 25?
Oh, I've got no idea.
I don't even actually think I went to the movie theater at all.
I think I've only been to watch children's things, honestly, like Zootropolis 2 the other week. But that's mainly an opportunity for a nap, if I'm lucky. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I would even... No, I can't really think of anything exciting, honestly.
Yeah. Did you watch the Superman film? That was a big one that came out over the summer. Me neither. It's on my list. Wish I'd seen it in theaters, but Avatar just came out. The Way of Water or something like that.
Yeah, that didn't do much for me. Charlie, my youngest, is obsessed by Titanic at the moment. So we spent a bit of time watching Titanic again.
James Cameron reference.
Yes, that's the link, obviously. Sorry.
I did a Titanic move with Mark Moncrief and Venon Van Hoot. Shout out to them. We were on like a lobster crabbing fishing boat. What do you call those things? You grew up doing that.
Yeah, that's a good enough description.
And so we were at the, I guess the front end.
Bow. And that's called the bow.
Okay. Thank you, Captain. Oh, Captain, my Captain. So then I did the Titanic thing off the bow. That was in October.
Nice.
It's a nice memory for the year. So we didn't go to the movie theater. Have you been to the theater?
Yeah. So the other day we went to watch Matilda for Christmas. Not the first time I've been, and it's always good, actually. Well, I think everyone likes it, actually, and it's not just for kids. So I'd recommend that you watch it if you get a chance.
The play, not the movie, you're saying?
Yes, the play in the theatre. But there is now, so there was a film of the book originally with Danny DeVito et al. And then recently, in the last year or two, they've made a film of the play, basically, of the musical. So it's the musical that you should watch, though, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. And you're not much of a musicals person, so that's really a ringing endorsement, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, it's good for adults and children.
Say that again. Good.
I said good for adults and children.
So, did you see any other plays, or that was it?
Not that I can remember. Oh, no, I
Your
did,
son
but I've
was in a
forgotten what it
play.
is already. Oh, Ben.
Hmm.
Yeah, Ben's. Yeah, no, that's true. I went to watch Ben's Christmas play, and that was only 2 weeks ago, and I'm struggling. Oh, Alice in Wonderland. It was Alice in Wonderland, and Ben
Which
had a
is a
name's.
holiday play, or
Yeah,
we
so I
just not
wasn't
know that?
sure about it. I wasn't sure about that either. And Ben did quite a lot of dancing and stuff, but he didn't get a speaking part, which is a bit disappointing as well. Um,
Did he do one on holiday? Like last year, he did a Barbie thing or something?
no, I don't, not that I can remember anyway. Um, no, I think he would have done some other plays, but I think that's the only one we went to because it was the Christmas one, holiday one. But no, I don't know what the Alice in Wonderland uh, Christmas link is. I don't think there is one actually. It's like is Die Hard a Christmas film? Discuss. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you and I discuss that now, but some people think it isn't a Christmas film, for example. Controversial, I think.
I don't know if you remember, we've talked about Die Hard this year on the podcast because you were talking about some move that one of the villains or somebody does, and you're like, that is absolutely not possible to do that unless you've got massive upper body strength.
Yeah, I know exactly what it was because it was in a lift shaft and they did a muscle up. It's a really, really difficult thing to do. And
That's
not that
absolutely right. Now,
plausible.
the question is, which episode was that we talked about that? Which podcast episode? We
I've
only
got no idea.
published 19, so it can't be that hard. So I don't think I've seen a proper play in Denver, but in August this year, um, one of my friends here who works in our lab, Jessica, we went and saw one of these chamber music, like so one of these foursomes play Coldplay by candlelight inside a church. I'm only hesitating because I think I forgot to put the garbage out and I think they're coming. So I might need to pause here in a second. But I was going to play you some because it was so lovely. Let's see if it'll play. It's pretty
Did you ever see?
enjoyable. Obviously, you're referring.
Yeah. Have you ever seen? I think it's two blokes with cellos, and that's all it is. Or it could be double basses, but that kind of thing. You get and it's all very kind of glitzy and rocked up. But I think they do AC/DC covers. So the one that
Oh,
the one that springs to mind was Back in Black, which is very, very heavily covered song anyway. But it's kind of weird on two cellos. But we should look that up. I'll look it up. It's easy
you've
to look
seen
up.
them or you just know
No,
about
no, no,
them?
no, no. It just reminded me this whole thing of playing kind of quite well, not that Coldplay's rock music, but anyway,
Your end is clean.
I think last time I checked, yeah,
Okay, so did you read any books this year that were memorable?
no, in a word, I don't think so. I'm just
Mm.
trying to think. Obviously, I've read lots of Jack Reacher books, but was there anything else? No, not really. I read a book about ADHD. That's quite memorable, but I'm not going to get into that. But yeah,
Oh, did you see that book, The Amazing Generation? I sent you the link to it.
yeah. No, the latest one's called something like How to Be a Man, I think.
Yeah,
The one
okay.
that's just out. I know that because I bought it as a Christmas present.
For yourself.
No.
Oh, for somebody else.
Mm.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
I bought two.
Okay. Say
Well,
more.
not much more to say. One was a Secret Santa, and I violated the rules because it had a £10 limit, and it's only in hardback, and it was £22. But I thought it'd be an interesting thing to read. And then I bought the other one for Emma, my wife, as a Christmas present because we've got boys, And I think this stuff isn't just important actually for boys and men; it's important for women, I think, as well. But we could practically do a whole podcast on that
But you
easily.
have no intention of reading it?
I'm hoping to read it. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you did buy it for yourself. I was getting to. You're like, I bought it for someone else and for my wife, but okay, I don't need to know how to be a man.
I want to read it. I'm not sure
Okay.
I'm going to agree with him from the reviews I've read, but I'd like to
Well,
see what he thinks.
well, he lives in London, so you can go hunt him
Oh
down
yeah.
there and have a coffee and hang out. Well, I don't know about that, but so he also references Jonathan Haidt from time to time because they have this same philosophy. How we raise our children will impact the next generation, which could impact bigger, much bigger things like how we consume entertainment or politics, how we develop policy and things like that. So Jonathan Haidt, who's one of those guys who has some of those like really fun, cringy dinner party conversation topics. Would you rather this or that? Or, I've talked about some of that. He calls it moral dumbfounding when he does some of these like dilemma questions, right? So he wrote a book. Oh, it was called The Anxious Generation. And it's the idea of if we give, cell phones to our children too early in life. So the anxious generation was kind of a bit of like, smartphone hygiene and this and that. But it could be seen as like it's too late, right? For many people who've already given their kids a cell phone, it's too late. So then what good is a book like that? So he wrote another one that just came out called The Amazing Generation. And it's geared towards the kind of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kid. And it's kind of telling them like, look, obviously technology exists and you've got your video games and your smartphone and your iPads, but you can be amazing by living in this world, not just sort of experiencing it through a device. So it's called The Amazing Generation. I'll send you that link again. Okay, so that's a big digression because that's obviously something neither one of us have read, but you have the Scott Galloway. Anything else? I did read For Blood or Money this year, which was the story of ibrutinib, idelalisib, and the company Pharmacyclics and Acerta. And what was really cool was very early on, it's like page 12 or 20 or something like that. The paragraph starts, it says, Dan Pollier was in his lab at Stanford and blah, blah, blah. And Dan Pollier is one of my colleagues here in Colorado. He's the chair of the Division of Hematology. And an overall amazingly good guy. So it was really cool to read that. And there's just figures in that book. It's a true story, obviously. And it's just figures in that book, names of people both you and I know, people from MD Anderson, from Ohio State, from, pharma companies. Anyway, it was very interesting. I'm trying to think what else I read. I'm going to reread Peak Mind this next year, I think. Oh, I read Milk and Honey again, which is a book of poetry. Not sure what prompted that. Anything you're going to read next year? You've earmarked?
After I've read the Scott Galloway book, yeah, I don't know. That Blood and Money thing sounds quite good. So maybe I should read that.
Oh, Blood and Money is good. Yeah, I can give it to you. I read a book called The Last Romantics by Tara Conklin. It's an interesting read. I would kind of recommend that. I reread a book called The Memory Keeper's Daughter, about a doctor who gives birth to his daughter in the 1950s or 60s or so in the middle of a snowstorm. He ends up unable to take his wife to the hospital proper, so he takes her to his clinic, calls his nurse over, and delivers the baby, but immediately notices she has Down syndrome. And rather than tell his wife, maybe he had twins. So he delivers the boy, and then the second baby he delivers has Down syndrome. And at this point, his wife may be unconscious. So he hands the baby to his nurse and says, take it to that home, the next city over, blah, blah, blah. And the nurse can't traverse the roads. So she ends up just going back to her apartment with this baby. And the next day goes to that home and sort of sees the conditions and thinks like, I can't take this baby there. So she instead keeps the baby and moves to another city. And anyway, it's a story of like these two kind of families developing over the course of, years. And anyway,
And
it's a lovely,
it's fiction, right? It's not a true
it's
story.
fiction. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, best I can tell, it's fiction, but it's really a lovely story. Anyway, it's a real, like, whatever we would call coming of age story.
I'm sure I'd like it. I'm surprised we haven't talked about it before. No,
Any
can't
movies or plays or shows or anything?
not that I can think of.
That could be a transition into TV. You watched it. You guys are good TV watchers. So, like, anything top, maybe?
I need to think about that. I'm not sure. Just trying to think of that thing with what's his name, Jason Clarke. That was actually surprisingly good. Well, I think that's called The Last Frontier.
I put
It's
that on my list because you recommended it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're not from the US and watching Alaska and how beautiful it is, that was a big thing. But maybe you're used to that already because you're from the US. But it felt a little bit like it was a sort of, and I think I said this before, a kind of Scandi noir type thing, but set in Alaska, and the music's good and the acting's good as well, and maybe the plot's a little bit implausible, but it's actually really beautifully shot and it's easy to watch, and he's very good.
That reminds me, I never finished True Detective, the one with Jodie Foster in Alaska.
Yeah, but that's because you didn't like it that much and you stopped watching it or annoyed you or something. It wasn't anywhere
No.
near as good as, wasn't it? It wasn't anywhere near as good as the first one or two with Matthew McConaughey, though. Who is that, right? And Woody Harrelson, the first one, I
Yeah, but
think.
you're probably just remembering that there's some female nudity in that. That's what you remember, right? There's no female. There's a little bit of nudity in Jodie Foster's True Detective.
No, I know I'm not. I'm just remembering how good Matthew McConaughey was because I had this massive thing. I didn't really like his, all those films he made early on where they just involved him taking his shirt off basically, and showing off his six pack. And I completely wrote him off, honestly. And then,
That is the pot calling the kettle black, but okay. You
um,
basically walk into a gym and take your shirt off.
yeah, but well, whatever. I mean, there's certain sort of etiquette points that need observing. Um,
There's a very funny Netflix series called Between Two Ferns, and it's this guy, Zach Galifianakis. He's a comedy actor, but he plays everything straight. So he is the host of this show called Between Two Ferns, and it's just, kind of a satire on talk shows. So he'll have the guests sit between these like two, Christmas tree fern type things. And on the Matthew McConaughey episode, he asks them, what was the marijuana budget on True Detective? Anyway, so that Jason Clarke one is on my list. You brought up Scandi Noir, and that reminds me, you had made a recommendation for me to watch The Bridge, the Swedish
the
series, The Bridge.
original.
So I watched that with what's her name in that episode? Not Sana.
Saga Naren.
Saga Norgren. Yeah, Saga Norgren. And the actor from Killing Eve, the actor who plays Constantine in Killing Eve, is in season one
Yeah.
and season two. So I watched season one and two. Fantastic. That was such a good recommendation. And then I watched season two of The Diplomat, Carrie Russell and Matthew Rhys, which not Matthew Rhys, Carrie Russell and Rufus Sewell, that I really enjoyed. And I just started watching The Beast in Me over this recent holiday. I have watched episode one or two. It's the acting is so cringy and good.
And what's that
And
actually
that's
about?
Carrie
The,
Russell
the
husband.
beast in me. What's it about?
Mm-hmm. It's a writer, and she lives in kind of Northeast, someplace outside of kind of New York City, Connecticut, or Rhode Island or something. And then a real estate mogul moves in next door. And he moves in next door. And this author who's kind of struggling to figure out her next book and who's had a personal tragedy in her own life starts to get kind of consumed by him and thinks about investigating what happened to his first wife. Anyway, moving on. Any trips that you took this year that were good? Personal or work?
Sorry. Can I think of anything? Don't know. I'm not sure there's anything particularly stands out, really.
You guys went to
Honestly.
Cyprus.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty nice, I suppose. I mean, yeah, but Cyprus is fine. But I mean, as a holiday destination, I mean, I think there's places that we already go to that I'd want to go back to more than Cyprus. That's probably the most diplomatic thing that I can easily say. But no, there's nothing that's really jumping out. Esmo was fun, maybe, but
Busy.
a lot of people seem to be moaning about the convention centre. But yeah, that was good that you did a presentation in the presidential symposium. Am I allowed to say that? Well, that's a highlight, obviously. How could it not be? It would be ridiculous if it wasn't a highlight. So congratulations again. And no, go on.
No, I was just thinking about my trips. I had gone to Sweden, to Gothenburg, and then to an even more remote part of Sweden. That was incredible. That was with an amazing group of people. Very, very memorable. And then I had a trip with my friend Anne Marie to Hawaii recently. And I mean, both seeing her after a few years, hadn't seen her since Madrid ESMO 2023. I feel like that was the last time I saw her in person. And just being in Hawaii again is nice. So those were two really. And then I had two really fun trips to London this year. Anything good that you ate this year? Anything memorable you ate? You put in
No,
your mouth?
definitely not.
As you would have phrased it. Anything good that you've put in your mouth this year?
Not that I can. No, I don't think so. I can't think of anything. Maybe I should be more excited about this, but I'm not. I don't
Didn't
think.
you eat
No.
at that Ottolenghi restaurant? But you've eaten at that before, I guess, or
No, it was the first time. It was great. This was the Ottolenghi in Richmond, which is impossible to get into, and it's kind of cafeteria style, but the food was fantastic. Especially especially the vegetables actually and the salads. So I would recommend that.
that's cool. Cool. Okay, so how about podcast wise? Shall I tell you what we did this year podcast wise? And then you can just tell me
Yeah,
if
go
you
on.
had any. I mean, I loved our episode with Claire Turnbull just because she's so smart and her delivery is so relatable. It's like she's so smart and she talks about things that are really a little bit beyond our comprehension in a very relatable, comprehensive way or comprehensible way.
Yeah, I agree.
Comprehend-
That's definitely been one of my favourite ones, and also, I mean, the fact that you split it into two, I think speaks volumes.
yeah, yeah.
Because there was just well, never mind the stuff that didn't even see the light of day.
Yeah, the stuff
Which
that's on the cutting room floor is you two making just all sorts of gags that I can barely hang on to because they're like it's British humor and then it's like inside stuff, but it's very funny. Mike Atkins was another guest we had. We had Inga Marie on. We talked about post PD-1 studies, which was I think a Nature or a Cell paper. We talked about sub-Q formulation of Opdivo, so the checkmate whatever study, 76T. I don't even know.
Yeah, that sounds plausible, but I've forgotten. But I mean, a quick update on that because now I'm asking all the patients now.
67T. Go on.
What is it? 76?
67T.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how they dreamt that one up. But I've been asking all the patients who've transferred from intravenous to subcutaneous. I make a point of asking them what they think of the subcutaneous, and there hasn't been one patient yet who hasn't preferred the subcutaneous, having
That's
previously
good to
had
hear.
the. I mean, the convenience is obvious and the time
Yeah,
saving, but the thing I was wondering about, not worrying about, wondering about was the volume of the subcutaneous injection and how well tolerated it would be and stuff like that. And the patients have all been really happy with it. So, I mean,
good.
I guess that's what we were expecting. But on the ground, if you like, patients are pretty happy about it actually. And there's a subcutaneous Pembro coming up, I think, in the interests of fairness and balance.
Keytruda QLEX. Yeah. Opdivo Qvantig, Keytruda QLEX. Yeah. Ponsegramab.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I was going to say there. Okay. The
Well,
SITS.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, I'm genuinely curious to see where that's going to go and how quickly it's going to move. But it looks amazing, actually. So
I mean, related to that, we talked about that Godfather trial because it's essentially the same target, right?
yeah,
GDF15.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, isn't it the same? GDF15? Yeah, GDF15. Um, we talked about the definition of immune checkpoint inhibitor resistance, the SITC white paper. We had Monty on. We had Monty on like January 2nd. We recorded that. We didn't publish it till the summer because that's how long we take. We did Best of ASCO, which was a good one. We did that pretty timely. We did our Women in Melanoma publication. I quizzed you on all the drugs that were approved in 2024. So I suppose I have to prepare myself. I won't prepare. I will come into it blind, but maybe you have to quiz me on the 2025 drug approvals.
Wow. Yes. Okay.
We're going to have to make those flashcards, remember?
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Do you think it? I mean, I reckon that you were just telling me earlier that's one of our most popular episodes, apparently.
On the YouTube channel, that one, because I think it's recent and so it got a lot of clicks. Yeah. We did a live stream from ESMO, like our hey, hang on, we're gonna do it. That was fun. We figured out how to live stream for a second.
But
We did a best
that was only 2 minutes, wasn't it? Maybe 3.
4. Yeah,
And we had to hide because I just ripped the carpet. Remember?
I
I
do.
don't think we...
He doesn't mean with a fart. He means he was moving a piece of furniture in the Berlin hall of ESMO. And in moving this massive stone, heavy, heavy bench, he started ripping a carpet.
And do you remember the cleaner? The cleaner noticed it was some
Of
guy,
course.
and
Yeah.
he was very
You
relaxed
almost
about it. But now I'm thinking maybe we're going to get an email from Tony Shueri and Mariam Shalabi, with a bill or something like that attached to fix the carpet under the stairs.
in the City Cube. That's exactly where it was. It was in City Cube. We did end up doing Best of ESMO 1 and 2, which was good. And then what I just published in the last kind of week or so is I finally had some free time. I did our immune-mediated myocarditis, longest episode we've ever done. It's over an hour. It's about 48 minutes, and then it's about 15 minutes of fact check. The intention was always to split that, but best laid plans, man. Who can get around to that and finding the right place to split it? So I just did it as one. But it's an hour.
Wow.
But it's a pretty good one and pretty relevant because, you were just getting a text from your friend who helps you out on these myocarditis cases from time to time. We did Keynote 054, the 7-year follow-up. And in that fact check, we dive deep into the lead authors' middle names.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
Which I can't remember. Maximilian is one of them.
And then you did the other one in a French accent.
Sorry?
You did the other one in a French accent.
Oh, did I? I've got no idea.
Episode 76, folks. We our last guest was Merrick Ross. And we chatted with him. I published that one. We talked about MEK inhibitor trials. I mean, I will just say for the listeners, that one's a bit cringy because this is one where we start off talking about, will James take his shirt off on a future podcast? And then you called it the Willy Wonka. You said, because I said at some point you'll just whip it off for a few seconds and then put it back on. And you said, oh, like the Willy Wonka effect. And I said, I don't understand. And you said, oh, you're just going to have to go through every episode until you find the
Did I
golden.
really say that? I had no idea I said that.
Yeah. I think you were just embarrassed that we were focusing so much on you taking your shirt off. And that's the episode where we shouted out the most amount of your friends too. So it's painful because that's the episode where 4 people are shouted out. We'd love for them to go listen to it. Then again, if they listen to that episode, it's a lot of, cringy banter, but. And that was the last one I think that came out. Yeah, MEK inhibitor. So what do you even remember any of these? Because we kind of lost our steam a little bit, but we're going to get back on. That's our 2026 resolution. More committed, more diligent, more episodes, more guests, right?
Yeah, we're still knocking around the right guests to have, I guess. Okay. How many episodes do we need to do in 2026? Sorry?
You sound a little lukewarm about this. And there are other Larkins chomping at the bit to get rid of Dad, as it were.
To replace me.
Yeah.
I probably need to up my game a little bit, don't I? Otherwise.
Can you get it up a little bit more? Yeah. Please.
I've got no choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many episodes? I mean, I think that first year we did amazing because we were only really recording for 6 months and we published 59. So let's see what we can do about an episode a week, but let's keep at it.
Okay. Good plan.
Okay. What else? Any other thoughts for 2026? Do you have a mantra or do you have a motto you live by?
Not really. Like surviving the next day.
I'm a very, very optimistic person. And so I'm an each day better than the last, or, each day has the potential to be the best day. So I'm going to carry that forward.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Gym goals. Let's get there because you helped me accomplish a few. Mm-hmm. Did you hit PBs this year?
It would be nice. You know the answer to that already. Yeah, I've had a few PBs. I had one a couple of weeks ago and actually one just before that, which I was a bit surprised about. Yeah, so I'd like to be proficient at doing muscle ups, but I would have said that for the last few years, and it requires putting in the time, actually, and also probably being on the lower end of my weight range. So it's not. No, it's true. It's true. Because guess what? Being a little bit lighter makes a big difference. So, yeah, but I'm sort of relaxed about that. It'll happen or it won't. What about you? PB, back squat PB. Yeah, you got to target that.
Yeah, I would.
No?
Coach Owen, our most named friend, right?
How you doing?
Well, you made a prostate shape there. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty close. Did you see what you did? You made a prostate.
There we go. Sorry.
So he gave me a 12-week program.
So no, I was just going to say, was that a heart for Owen or was it a heart for the prostate?
Whose prostate? I'd love to finish the 12-week squat program. I keep getting hung up at week 3 or 4 and then, being somewhere where I can't train properly. Yeah, just, getting stronger, staying strong, staying lean. I like it all. But thanks for, thanks for your friendship. Thanks for this podcast, for the time. I've enjoyed it.
Look forward to 2026.
Yeah. Cheers.
Okay. Bye.